right, we've gone to the field and felt the pulse of the masses and what happiness actually means to them individually. And a lot of people spoke of what makes the happiness we talked about. Let's move into what we actually have today on the show, which is managing adolescent health as the world marks 2023 World Adolescent Week, which actually is being marked between 20th and the 26th of March every year. Ajolo, I don't know, you have adolescent in your home?
Of course. I have adolescents, and well, to me, when you're talking about adolescence, it's something that you really actually pay more attention to, because I said I think it takes more to raise a girl child than it takes to raise a boy child. I'm not trying to be gender insensitive here, you understand, but I'm just telling you the reality of stuff. I remember when we were in secondary school way back, our teacher then used to tell us that the life of a man and the life of a lady, they are two different things. That the lady is like, what is it called? Hot coal. And a man is like ripe kernel. That when you throw both in water, one remains the same, the other one gets dented. So that means a lady needs to be taken care of specially.
All right, so we have some guests in the studio to really help us look into that. They are specialists in the area. Mrs. Ngozi Eke is adolescent reproductive health focal person from Ministry of Health. Good to have you in the studio, Mrs. Eke.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We also have barrister Mrs. Irene Aneme, consultant adolescent girls and young women intervention, Achieving Health Nigeria Initiative. Good to have you.
Same here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Now, when we talk about Adolescent Health Week, let me begin with you. What is it all about? Why is it important that we talk about that and giving it a whole week, not just one day, as other celebrations?
Okay. The adolescent, if you remember the saying, if you build a girl child, you build a nation. And the adolescents are key populations. They are very key, and the future lies both in the adolescent and the young people. So it's very key that we give them that attention, make them to feel important and inclusive in the decision making concerning and policies concerning them. So they are given that whole week to show you the key and importance of the adolescents in the Nigerian system, in the African system, and in the whole wide world. So the adolescents are very key. They are very important. And when you build, our future lies actually in the adolescents. So that's why the United Nations brought out a whole week in a year to celebrate the adolescents and the young people.
That's lovely. Let me speak with the medical practitioner. Is there any special emphasis on, let's say, as a medical practitioner, that you pay to adolescent children, as in girls, for instance? Is there anything special, as in, if I bring my daughter to your clinic, after maybe one or two, maybe you check if she's having malaria or whatever, is there anything extra because she's a girl that you people need to do so as to sensitize all the parents?
Thank you very much for your question. We do a lot of things, actually, to be able to get our adolescents, especially the girl children, to be on track. We go for school sensitizations, which has to do with aligning them with proper health issues and health-seeking behaviors that will enable them grow into meaningful citizens, good mothers, sisters, daughters, and to have good health-seeking behavior, like know when she's sick, be able to speak out, build her self-esteem, so that nobody puts you down. Because you're a girl child, someone will come to you and say, look at you, don't you know you're ugly or you stink, something like that. you tell the person, I'm the best of God's creature. You build your self-esteem. And that is what we do when we try to sensitize them through school outreaches, church outreaches, community outreaches, and we equally have adolescent health facilities, youth-friendly health facilities, where we design in a way that they'll have good audio papers or storybooks that will help them. They come in there, they relax, they talk or discuss with their fellow adolescents, watch good films, and equally assess healthcare. Like they get tested for HIV/AIDS, they get tested for TB, and other health problems. So,
okay, these adolescents we are talking about, for the benefit of those watching us, they fall within which age range? Can you tell us?
the adolescents fall within the ages of 10 years and 19 years old.
Okay, now I know why I asked that. There's this saying that sometimes when you don't really get them, when they step, I don't know, when they don't, you don't guide them properly within this age, yes, and something terrible, it could be a terrible situation, or the person growing into an adult or dysfunctional adult, so to speak. So as a consultant in that regard, what are you people doing to ensure that these kids are guided and guarded properly to ensure they grow into responsible adults?
All right, thank you so much. My organization, in relation and in cooperation with the Anambra State government, we seek to attend specifically to both the adolescent girls and young women and the adolescents and the young people. Like Madam Eke rightly said, the adolescent falls between the age of 10 to 19, then the young people 19 to 24 and sometimes above. In this particular age group, you tend to find, so people will say the good, the bad, and the ugly, So, and due to that stage is their vulnerable stage. A young child is just like a tabula rasa. Whatever you put in is what you will get out. So we tend to guide them in order not to derail. Our adolescents are prone to social behavioral changes, peer pressure, and they tend to learn through what their peers are doing. So when you start off with rendering good adolescent health and sexual reproductive education to them, tend to teach them and guide them through the right path. In collaboration with the Anambra State government, my organization is moving from school to school. Because what you cannot cure, at a point you tend to prevent. So we tend to bring a preventive package, what we call as a minimum preventive package, whereby you sensitize the adolescents and the young people. You tell them key things peculiar to them. An adolescent has some challenges that we, the adults, don't have. You see an adolescent going through...
You've outgrown, not
well, I've outgrown,
yes.
Actually. I can manage my mental stress, but an adolescent cannot. I can manage peer pressure. An adolescent cannot. I can manage my behavioral changes, but an adolescent cannot. Okay. You tend to see them moving from a good girl, and down in the school, they tend to change, seeing what their peers are doing, their peer influence. So we tend to move from school to school in collaboration and with the authority of the Anambra State government to sensitize our young girls, tell them about their health, tell them about sexual and gender behavioral violence, sexual and gender behavioral violence against girls and even against our boys. So it's a holistic package. The adolescents, you have to protect them. They are like eggs, and if any little thing, they will drop, and in order, it will be very, very hard for you to recover them. You understand? So it's like a long thing. You have to have passion for the job, for you to be able to do it. We all are parents, and we know at a point in time, even if you don't have an adolescent right now, at a point in time, your child, either your girl child or your boy child, will grow. And we know how the society is out there. So it starts by that sensitization. And we don't fail to make it open anywhere we go to. It's not left only to the government or to the organizations. We actually seek to, canvas for family orientation. The family or the society starts from the family. Yeah, we tend to canvas for family orientation, then to teach your child about their orientation, their sexual reproductive health. It's not a bad thing. I have a son of 7 years old, and I've already taught him his key organs, body organs, sexual reproductive organs. Nobody should manipulate that. Nobody should touch that. All these little and minute things that we neglect in the family tend to lead to social and moral decadence in the future. So if you look at the whole package of the adolescent program, you see you have the legal aspect, you have the health aspect, you have the morality aspect. So it's like a communal effort. We can't do it without the parents. You can't do it without the government. You can't do it without organizations and the teachers. So that's why we move from school to school. Madam Eke here, and coupled with the efforts of other organizations, we sensitize our children, both in the secondary school, tertiary institution, because for me, the prevention is the key, not even the curative aspect. Because if you tend to prevent, you won't have anything to cure.
Well, now you're talking about the prevention. Just like we're talking about going to school, sensitizing schools. I think in order for you to actually prevent this thing, rather than going to schools, isn't it imperative, you understand, that schools have counsel and guardian, you understand? So that the work would be done on a regular basis, not pending when you people will come. Imagine the number of schools we have in Anambra State. How much of these schools will you cover? And then how much of it will you integrate into the minds of these adolescents in this school? So I think maybe your organization, probably maybe with the state government, can have each school, you understand, to have a guardian and counseling unit in the school, so that schools, pupils can go there and relate. And again, it will even give an enabling environment for that psychological interaction. There are some kids that are totally alienated from their parents.
Of course.
You understand? There are some, but the teacher could see it early than even the parents that sleeps with these kids. So if this kind of things have been done, you understand, don't you think it will further help in enshrining that we have adolescents that will definitely grow into being the leaders that we clamor for in this country?
Beautiful. Like I said earlier, our package is holistic.
Yeah.
You know, we actually, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN for the adolescents for 2030, you will see that if you go one-off to the schools, sensitize them and tell them about preventive measures, you don't tend to achieve a sustainable development of the adolescents in the long run. So actually what we do, we align ourselves to the already existing structure in the schools. When we approach a school, we pay advocacy visits. We, my organization, Achieving Health Nigeria Initiative, and the government, we pay advocacy visits to the schools, to the school authority, principal, vice principal. And when we get there, in the course of our work, we realize that a one-off visit to the school doesn't create the impact that we want, actually. So what we now do is, we look at how do we secure the sustainable goal. We now decided to establish school health clubs in every school that we go to. Then what is the idea behind it? Once you establish a school health club with the teachers and the school authority inclusive, you see that the work is ongoing even in your absence. So we meet a school, pay advocacy visits, seek for the guidance and counselors already in the school, work with them as the club matron and patron One male teacher, one female teacher. Some adolescents might be comfortable to talk to a male teacher, while they will not be comfortable to talk to a female, and vice versa. So we seek to have a club matron and patron. Then in the long run, our club activity starts. And the children are being included. If you watch the theme of the 2023 Adolescent Health Week, is with and for the adolescents, building a healthier and inclusive future. We cannot take our adolescents away in things that involve them. So we tend to bring them in. They are not only the members of the club, we tend to get the executives of the club from the adolescents themselves, while the matron and the patron plays a supervisory role over them. Then we leave with them a health talk guide. We have sieved out all the topics relating both to their health, their general development, legal aspects, life skill aspects, trying to build the confidence of the girl child, trying to build the psychological power of the girl child to say no to things that she ought to say no to, and to speak up when she ought to speak up. So it's a holistic package. In that health talk guide, then the school authority, through the matron and the patron, have their weekly club activities. That weekly club activities is now where they now discuss so many things pertaining to the girl child, pertaining to the adolescent, pertaining to the young people.
All right, let's see who's here. Hello? Hello, good morning. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so it's like we have looked into the sustainable efforts that we have to put in place. When my organization is no longer there, who takes over? It's the children that we have and the school club that we have already established. And equally, in the holistic, if you look at it holistically, the government is still aligning. So there's still sustainability.
Oh, all right, I think while you were speaking, something is actually coming to mind, because the society we are in today, we see a lot of things that you will hear and you say, could this be happening? That is even adults that help these children to get involved in negative things. How do you ensure the characters you build into your organization that help these kids? I don't know if you understand where I'm going to, because some adults abuse these children.
Of course.
So how do you ensure that you get credible people that will help these children to nurture them into that responsible adults we are looking for?
Okay, that's fine. We look at every school that we approach to get a health club established. We tend to ask for matron and patron from the school. And in asking for that, we ask for key people. We don't look for core members. We don't accept core members to be part of the matron. You don't know them, they come and go. The teachers that are employed by the government, that are grounded in the things that they do, we tend to ask for the mother figures in the school to help build these children. And we look out for skills that we want to impart on the children. We tell them, you have to build a girl child's confidence. You have to build a boy child's confidence. Because if you're talking only about the girl child, you forget that the boys are equally raped. You forget that boys equally find themselves in funny situations. So we build skills into the children through the school authority. So you can't give what you don't have. While we are looking out for the people that will be on top of the situation in these schools, we tend to seek out the best of the best in the teachers. And we don't establish and go to sleep. We establish and we visit. We ensure that what the intention behind the establishment of the club, or the whole idea of the Adolescent Girls and Young Women program, the Adolescent and Young People program, is being carried out in the whole school health club and the whole activities of the school. And we equally, not only the schools, you remember the out-of-school children.
Okay.
That's one key place that people tend to turn a blind eye towards. Madam Eke can bear us witness. We move from community to community. and we use the adolescents, probably graduates, as volunteers in our organization so that they can achieve peer-to-peer education, or what we call the peer educators. If I, as an adolescent of probably 23 years old, I'm talking to you as an adolescent of 18 years old, I tend to relate more to the things that are common between us. I tend to tell you things that you can relate to easily. I tend to bring to the limelight things, peculiar issues to us. You know, so it's like we can't exhaust it all today.
I understand. You've said a whole lot, and I'm learning a thing or two, you understand? But now, we're talking about adolescent, and you said the age cuts between 12 to 19. And within that age, 12 to 19, 19
10 to 19.
Sorry, 10 to 19, sorry. You have undergraduates. You have people already in the university.
Yes.
Do you guys have programs for those that are in university? Because when you have the solid foundation from your home, sometimes it gets eroded within that few 4 years you spend in the university.
Yes.
So in order for this work you've done in the primary school, the secondary school, to still be with that child, in order for the child to be useful to the society in the university, do you guys do follow-up down to the tertiary institution?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Eke, coming at this point, you're a mother, and you're equally involved in what they are doing. Now, if you don't mind, could you let us know the challenges that beset these adolescents? You know, what are the things that their vulnerability exposed them to? You know, like in sexual violence, sexual abuse that we hear every day going on in our society.
Thank you very much. Our adolescents have a lot of problems that affect them, and those problems are vast. Like we have early marriages. It affects them a lot. We have early or unwanted pregnancies. We have cultism. We have diseases like HIV and STIs, which equally affect them because of a lot of health issues they come in contact with. Those who are out there on the streets like female sex workers. We have men who use men. We have issues that come with intergenerational sex, like elderly men who are supposed to be their fathers, going to befriend the younger adolescents, giving them Fanta, biscuits, and stuff like that in order to get them pedophile kind of. They try to entice them with wealth. They go to carry them from schools, and they waste away their lives. So a lot of issues affect our adolescents. We can't exhaust the issues that affect our adolescents because there are many of them. Our adolescents need their self-esteem to be able to say yes and to be able to know when to say no. Because by the time some people will talk to them, because they're in this environment, we are very respectful, unlike some other states or countries or tribes. And because of that, every adolescent in Igbo land tries to be respectful. At times, because of that respect, they tend to enter into problems, because by the time an elderly one is talking to you, you wouldn't know how to say no outright. So we try to sensitize them to know their rights from their left, to know when to say yes and when to say no, to know when to stand strong and keep moving. You don't give time, you don't stand to waste time discussing, because by the time you start discussing, the person might convince you and make you to go the wrong way. And there are times they have to be at home instead of being on the roads so as to avoid gender-based violence, because some people will invite you out to inflict injury or any other issues, rape, is another big challenge they have, because most times people will say it's because of the way they dress. No, it's not really because of the way they dress. If they dress the way that is somehow indecent, then as elderly people, look away or correct them. You don't need to be moved. Even when a girl or a woman is dressed in a flowing robe, a man still visualizes that woman in her. So it's not only their dressing that makes them prone to rape. It is the psychology of the men. And we don't need to put them away from their sensuality. It is a natural thing. We need to tell them that it is natural. It comes at certain times or ages. And you have to know how to manage your sensuality as a girl, as a boy, because men equally have their wet dreams. And those are the things they need to understand. If you don't tell them about it, they'll feel shy. They won't be able to associate or ask questions because they don't even know if it happens to another person. So they won't be able to speak out. So you have to tell them, teach them how to be able to speak out. Some have, like you asked earlier, whether that we should be able to accommodate or get the government to provide guidance counselor in schools. Every secondary school have guidance counselors, and we communicate with them. We work, both private and secondary and government owned, they all have guidance counselors. And for us to do this, we accommodate them because we can't do it alone. Even the parents, we invite parents, we go for PTA meetings to speak with parents because a lot of parents cannot be able to talk to their children, their adolescent children.
You're very, very correct, because I remember myself growing up in secondary school, then primary school. There used to be our teacher then. In fact, you look close to, you look like her. There used to be this our dreaded primary 4 teacher then. In fact, if your parents should reference her, your brain will be on reset. So you need to start doing what you ought to do as children at home, rather than being reported to school. But I don't know if that's still obtainable these days, because we don't have dreaded teachers whereby you tell your daughter or your child that if you don't do this, I will report you to your teacher. And then you see your child doing complying immediately. We don't have that because some schools now, they don't even discipline children. They say discipline is not the way to bring up a child. Rather, you talk to a child. And I knew how much the rod corrected me as a child growing up. But now my children are not passing through that. Isn't this part of what we are having with the decadence in the society with these our adolescents that are growing off track from where we want them to grow? On the area of discipline, please.
That's why we don't shy away from the harsh realities of the adolescents. We tell our any school we advocate to that we need to have a forum with the parents. If you don't get it right from home, the child will be floating. He or she will keep floating. So in that parent-teacher forum, we tell them the importance of discipline right from the home. Even if you can discipline a child without necessarily flogging.
That is the style we are having now, and then we are losing it.
Well, it depends. Different kind of orientation for different people. Some people will tell you, some people will believe in harsh flogging. Some people will believe in constructive or words of the mouth. I can't remember the last time I used a rod on my child or any of my children. But at the mention of a rod, they comply. Because I have that belief that once you keep hitting, the child becomes immune.
A thick body.
You know, you are thickened to the fact that you always hit. So after all, mommy will hit me and that will go. It's not that I don't hit at all. I use more of constructive punishment.
Do you advocate that to other parents?
I tell you, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Balance it out. Not all the time using the rod. So once you advocate to the parents, tell them the importance of educating our children right from the home than leaving every work to be done at school. We advocate for that parent one-on-one interaction with your children. I was having a meeting with the stakeholders in Anambra State, and one man actually asked me, he said, Madam Irene, you're always talking about the girl child, the girl child, the girl child. What about the boy child? I told him they are not being left out. We talk about both. That's why AYP, which is adolescent and young people, is a holistic package whereby you have the adolescent girls and the young women incorporated into it. Then he now told me a shocking story. Do you know I have never hugged my mother since I was born? At least since he knew, he has full understanding. He has never hugged the mom. That he can't remember discussing anything about his sexuality with the mom.
Yeah, no,
at all. All the very evident.
A lot of adolescents avoid that. But when you train them and be able to, a hug can take a hurt away.
Yes.
It can turn a child around. When you hug that child, you show her love. You show her that she belongs. Protection. You show her that you love her. Yeah. You show her you can protect her, that you will be there for her. That is what it means. And it kind of touches the inside of them instead of using the cane.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about when the child is a hug the child.
It depends on what the child does.
Not all the time.
It's not hugging the child when he or she is. Yeah. You correct them. You can sit them down. Certain children align to certain behavior. There are those who you will talk to gently, they will hear. There are those who you will talk to harshly or embarrass them before friends. It will get worse. You will never bring that child back again. He or she can even go to the extent of leaving home because you spoke of what he or she did before her friends or peers. You will not get that child away. It hurts them so much. But when you are soft, you call them down. Sit the child down. Call her by her pet name. You know mommy loves you. Why did you do this? It hurts me to see you doing this. I cannot believe you can do this.
All right, quickly for want of time, we have I think we have a street work coming on. It's still Good Morning Anambra, managing adolescent health as the world marks Adolescent Week on ABS television. A short break for street work on managing adolescent health. Ndi Anambra, una apụtagola.
Ibolachi.
Good morning, Ndi Anambra.
Welcome to Good Morning Anambra Breakfast TV show on ABS TV.
Come, let's do it together.
Bia Kaido Wokwa.
We serve it sizzling hot.
Health and lifestyle. Security. Topical issues.
National development.
Entertainment and more.
Welcome to the flagship show, where we arm you with the right tools for the day.
Keeping you abreast with happenings and information within and beyond the state.
There are so many things to gain staying tuned to Good Morning Anambra on ABS TV.
Heartbeats of the East.
Good Morning Anambra, live on ABS television. Weekdays, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
All right, we are back in the studio. Sorry about the mix-up. And we are still here talking Adolescent Health Week with Mrs. Ngozi Eke and Barrister Mrs. Irene Aneme. Okay, now, it's the week for adolescents. What are your activities for this year's Adolescent Health Week?
Okay, the commemoration of the Adolescent Health Week is being divided. It's a whole week activity. So it starts from Sunday, beginning of the week, till...
That's last Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually incorporate the Sunday part, whereby we do church sensitization, create awareness in the churches, so that you don't only focus on the in-school adolescents. Then we equally bring out, programs like this, whereby we talk to the parents, inform them of what is going on in the whole world for the week. Then we have hotspots and hotspot testing for people in the community. We create awareness. By when we are done here, we will be moving down to Regina, where we'll create more and a louder awareness of what is going on for the adolescents for the week. Then on Wednesday, we'll be going to schools. We have school outreaches in selected schools in different local governments in Anambra. That will be for tomorrow and next tomorrow. Then equally, that next tomorrow being Thursday, we have stakeholders meeting, whereby we have the key stakeholders in Anambra who the things of adolescents actually concern, whereby we have policy dialogue. We talk about the key problems of the adolescents, how best can we incorporate them, having the theme of this year's celebration in mind, for and with the adolescents, building a healthier and inclusive future. So with that stakeholders meeting, we plan how best to roll out programs, things, policies that can best affect our children positively for the year. Then on Friday, we still have some activities lined up. Then on Saturday, we'll crown it up with community outreaches. We have selected some communities whereby we visit, sensitize them, talk to them, run free HIV tests for the people that are eligible. Okay. We do HIV tests for the adolescents from age 18 who can give consent and above. Then for the adolescents who are below 18, we must have a written consent from the parents before we can test such an adolescent, and we go about with our written consent forms. Then in the community, we equally run our TB program, TB testing, and yes, and chest X-rays, and we roll out other preventive mechanisms for our adolescents to be able to comply and align in order to build an inclusive future.
Quickly, let me just suggest that because we are in this area of digital awareness. Do you guys have a website, a forum where a child that is suffering one form of abuse can communicate to you people so that he or she can get help? Okay, that's beautiful. We actually had a webinar at the national level yesterday, whereby
it's ongoing.
And it's still
throughout this
week.
Yesterday it was between 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m.
Yes, and we actually had another section from 7 till 8, whereby we had some celebrities that we feel that can positively influence the children. They log in online and have the webinar. The webinar is ongoing throughout this week, and in the course of relating to the adolescents, we don't fail to tell them of the gender-based response center in Anambra. That should be in Enugu General Hospital.
SAC Center. So, Sexual Adolescents Center for Gender-Based Violence and Issues.
Okay, because we encourage our adolescents to speak up. Yes. Then we don't fail to leave our phone numbers anywhere we go to. My phone number is almost like a public line. That of Madam Eke for the adolescent focal person.
You can call out the phone lines.
Okay. Okay. Mine is 070-6302-5113. Okay. So it's like we are ready anytime, anywhere. You call on us.
And for mine, And for mine, it's 080-3725-0023. You can call us anytime, any day for adolescent health issues and gender-based problems. We equally align with ministries like the Ministry of Women Affairs and Youth Development.
Quickly, Barrister Irene, I know, though it's invisible, but I can see it. You have a sledgehammer that you have in place for offenders. So what do you guys do to offenders that, will I say, pry on at the adolescent? Okay. Not only under your care, but for those that will be running for shelter.
Of course, the Achieving Health Nigeria initiative is all-encompassing. And like I said at the beginning of the program, we don't do anything without aligning with the government. Yeah. So once we have such a report, be it gender-based violence, be it female genital mutilation, be it early pregnancy, be it rape, anything, any form of issue. We take it to the gender-based response team at Enugu while I do a follow-up. When I make it to here, if she tells you her own experience lined up, the cases that are pending, you know, in court.
Take them to court.
We take them to court and we ensure that our girls, our boys have justice.
All right, yes. I think street work is ready. Let's take it now. We'll take another short break. The program returns after now when we begin to wrap up the show.
It's just like a transition age from childhood to adulthood. I think it begins from the age of 12 to 16. Sometimes when someone has late adolescence, it ends at 18 most times. Challenges they face is upkeep, like how they were brought up. I would say family challenges, sometimes environmental challenges too, because most of our environments which children do grow up, they have this kind of mindset that these are the things that you need to do as a child and these are the things you need to. So most times their parents also encourage them, not like bringing them up in kind of way that they don't have to know. At the age of adolescence, they are not meant to know some certain kind of things, you get, like sex education and all those things, because I think it's very, very vital that once a child is getting to this adolescent age, they are supposed to have an idea of what adolescenthood or adulthood is all about.
Adolescent, as it's been known, is the process of a human being developing from a childhood stage to an adult stage, which can be said between 8 to 16 years within that period of developmental period in the life of a human being. I think that is what defines adolescence. In the case of the adolescents, their case is peculiar because that is the actual stage of adaptation. That is the time the human being begins to adapt to the environment, make friends, and that is also the stage of influence, easily influential stage in the life of a human being. Because at this stage, everything makes sense. We must create, an educational standard, a kind of education that will be productive. There must be a critical review of the quality of education because it's the education that builds them up. It is the manner of education that's given to an adolescent that must determine the kind of lifestyle that child will grow up with. So when the education is nonsense in totality, in fact, in this society, what I'm seeing in the adolescent here is so disturbing because they don't have direction.
Adolescent in human being has a level of age. When you reach to that level, you know you're adolescent, like 16, 18, 13, 16 to 18 years. The challenges they are facing in hardship community that, they are not used to endure, they are not used to endure the condition of things. So they do whatever they like, the Yahoo, the prostitution, whatever. Once you give them the money, they will give you what you want. That's the thing. But if the condition is good, they will listen to their parents.
Adolescent normally is the age that when one reach, it is assumed that you are matured enough, maybe in terms of the way you think and your body system, the way so you have some appearance that shows that you have reached the adolescent age. So that is the main thing. So it might lead you to temptation due to some features you see in your body. So that's the major challenges. But one should be able to control his ego or her ego based on the reaction your body tells you. Don't try to, maybe you imbibe with your emotions. Adolescence comes with emotional feelings. It's not the way you feel when you are still a juvenile that you feel when you are adolescent. So you have to control your emotions. Don't let your emotions to control you. You understand? And you have to see counseling again through elders. Maybe your parents, your counselors, you seek cancellation from them.
Welcome back to the studio of Good Morning Anambra Show, talking managing adolescent health, and we've seen the views of the masses out there talking about what they feel about the week. And of course, this man actually said that the adolescent he sees today, their character is worrisome, you know, and let's all put hands together to ensure that things work, and that tomorrow we have, you know, responsible adults. That's all we're working for. And of course, we've been in the studio with Mrs. Ngozi Eke, adolescent reproductive health focal person from Ministry of Health. Thank you so much for being here, madam.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right. We also thank you so much, Barrister Mrs. Irene Aneme, consultant adolescent, girls and young women intervention, Achieving Health Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are all delighted for the opportunity given to us to advocate.
All right, my colleague.
Well, I was once an adolescent, and today we started with Happiness Day. How else can one be happy being in the midst of 3 women? Well, tomorrow we'll definitely get to do it again. Thank you.
All right, and that's just about it on Good Morning Anambra Show today. Let's do it again tomorrow. Bye for now.